You might recognize this man's face. Take another look. Yep, that's him.
Well, how old is your son?
63.
Yeah.
In a world full of bad news, negative stories, fighting and suffering, one man shines on social media simply because of his kindness.
Oh, you thought the sign said yield?
No, I knew it said stop. But
Judge Frank Caprio has become known as the judge with the big heart,
I'm not going to charge you anything for the ticket.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Good luck.
Thank you, sir.
touching millions of people online with his acts of mercy and compassion.
If you can give me some time to pay it up, I'll pay it.
The case is dismissed. We appreciate your service in Vietnam. Thank you for your service and good luck to you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Retired now, he was a judge for almost 40 years. I'm Colin Flynn, and I've come to the US to meet Judge Caprio and to hear his incredible story. Judge Frank Caprio, it's a pleasure to meet you. How are you doing?
I'm doing fine, thank you for asking.
Although living a life of luxury today, his childhood could not have been more different.
I had the most privileged childhood I could imagine. I had the privilege of being brought up poor. My dad was an immigrant from Italy, and we were living in what they call a cold water flat, which meant we didn't have hot running water. And I remember I probably was 10, 12 years old, and for some reason one day he put his hand on my shoulder and he said, "Someday you're going to be a lawyer." He says, "And you can't charge poor people like us." And that had such an impact on me. I never wanted to be anything else in the world except an attorney.
Frank's father, Antonio Caprio, was an immigrant from Italy who worked as a milkman.
He would wake my older brother and I up at 4 in the morning on some days to work with him on the truck. I learned one of the most valuable lessons working with my dad on the truck. I learned how to treat people, I learned understanding, I learned compassion. You know, he had a big heart.
Is it true, Frank, that your dad said to you and your brother when you would sit on the milk cart with him, "Boys, if you don't want to be on this milk cart for the rest of your life"?
He'd do that at 4 in the morning, sometimes before school, you know, or in the summers. He'd wake us up, say, "Okay guys, we're going to work." And we say, "Dad," I remember on the truck, he'd say, "If you don't want to do this the rest of your life, I better stay in school."
Frank listened to his father, went to law school and passed the bar in 1965 and then became a judge in 1985. But it was on his very first day as a judge that he learned a valuable lesson.
One of the first people who comes before me is this woman. And she's got a number of parking tickets. She was obstinate. She was insulting. I mean, she had very few redeeming qualities, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
And as much as I tried to help her, she wasn't taking it, right? So I'm just not paying. So finally, in desperation, I said, "I'm just charging you the full amount and your car's going to get booted." But I thought I was pretty strong with her, you know. I was a bench, I was up here, I'm the judge. "What do you mean you're not going to do it? I'm ordering you to do it." So court's over, my dad comes in chambers. I said, "Dad, how did I do?" He said, "How did you do?" He said, "That woman." I said, "She was disrespectful, you know." He said, "She was scared." He said, "She's got 3 kids. How's she going to feed those kids? You probably took money for dinner tonight."
For Frank, it was a wake-up call.
Because you're in a position of power doesn't mean you have to use it against the people who don't have power. I think you have to, it's a balance.
And he realized most of those who appeared in his court were ordinary, hard-working people just trying to get by.
You have to deliver pizza, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And you want it to be hot when you get it there, right? Nice and warm.
Yeah.
So you rush, you drive fast, right?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to say that.
Yeah.
You're a hard-working guy. Good luck to you.
And what might seem like a small fine to some was something many couldn't afford.
The court's going to charge you $170.
170?
$170.
That's a lot of money. Okay.
Probably means not feeding their children that night. Maybe it means they can't pay the rent, they're going to get evicted. You know, and that's why I always would inquire, you know. Tell me a little bit what's going on in your life.
When do you go to school?
Roger Williams.
What are you studying?
Engineering and math.
Frank Caprio became known as the judge who, even if you had broke the law,
I just realized the light later than I should have, so.
he would listen and take your circumstances into account.
The fact that you're a student, and the fact that you got all these A's, I'm going to reward you for that, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
When you started to become known as a compassionate judge, did you worry, Frank, about what will my colleagues think? Will they think I'm a weak judge in the system, that I'm not delivering the law of the
I
land?
never worried a second about it.
Didn't care.
And I know that many of them have expressed to me, how could you be so lenient? How could you be so lenient? It's very simple. I just place myself in the shoes of the person before me. And compassion is a very, very strong trait.
By simply asking people about their stories, Frank Caprio got a glimpse into the lives of so many, a masterclass in human nature.
I dealt with a domestic violence relationship. I ate a lot of those things, running away from somebody that used to chase me with my daughter.
And the fact that a powerful judge was showing such compassion made for beautiful moments.
I'm sorry. I understand. I am live here in 3 years.
Well, welcome to America.
And that's when the videos of his cases were turned into a TV show, Caught in Providence, which then went online
And who's this little guy?
and reached the world.
All right, come up here, bring him up here. I want to ask him a question.
It was always great to see when the children would come in and you would bring them up to the bench.
I'm going to ask you 2 questions, okay?
Innocent or guilty, what would the kids say?
Guilty or not guilty? What do you say?
Guilty.
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 Well, you have a wonderful family. I'm going to give you credit for your good driving record back in Africa.
Just trying to be decent with everyone. I never sat on a bench and thought that I was above anybody else, or that I was superior to them in any way, or I never prejudged anybody.
You're a smart man. I guess that's why you sitting up there.
I wouldn't go that far. Maybe I just got a little lucky.
Yeah.
Another wonderful moment when the man was given a ticket, but his wife came in and said, "My name's on that.
I got the ticket. He was driving my car.
I didn't do it.
I'm not guilty.
He did it.
He did it."
He did it.
He is.
And I said to him, "Do you put up with this every day?" He said, "Yes."
You go through this every day?
Yes, Your Honor.
We've been happily married for 43 years, right?
Yes, dear.
That is dismissed.
But out of all the cases over the years, there is one which stands out in Frank's mind. The moment a 96-year-old came into the court with an unpaid speeding ticket, the first one ever in his life.
Gentleman came in. He was in his 90s, charged with speeding.
I'm 96 years old and I drive slowly, and I only drive when I have to. I was going to the blood work for my boy. He's handicapped.
You were taking your son to the doctor's office?
Yeah, I take him for blood work every 2 weeks.
Well, how old is your son?
63.
Yeah.
He's got cancer.
You are a good man. I wish you all the best. I wish the best for your son, and I wish you good health, and your case is dismissed. Good luck to you, and God bless you. Thank you.
I dismissed the case, obviously, and we became very friendly with Victor. Actually helped Victor celebrate his 100th birthday. We had a big party for him.
That's fantastic. After 4 decades of helping others from his powerful seat up on the bench, Frank shocked his millions of fans around the world when he asked them for their help.
But I would ask each of you in your own way to please pray for me.
In December of 2023, Frank was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I know that when you were diagnosed with cancer a few years ago, you put out a video message to your millions of fans asking them
Prayers.
prayers? Why did you ask for prayers?
I'm a firm believer in the power of prayer. I have pancreatic cancer. There is no cure for pancreatic cancer. And although I am being treated medically for it, there is no cure for it. I have a deep and abiding faith in the Catholic Church, in Jesus, in the power of prayer. I think it's my last hope. I think medically they've taken me as far as they can. And I feel the power of prayer is the hope that I have.
Frank says it's his faith in God that keeps him going, and the power of prayer from all of his fans around the world. Do you miss the courtroom?
I do. I do miss the courtroom. I had a long run. When somebody comes in and they think the world is ending because of their issue, and I was able to help them and then see the relief in their eye, you know, and so I miss that. I miss helping people. You know, I keep repeating these words, but compassion and understanding, compassion and understanding.
Today, Judge Caprio is 88 and has just published a book entitled Compassion in the Courtroom, where he says his message is simple: be kind to others, be slow to judge, and always show mercy. In Miami, Florida, Colin Flynn for EWTN News In Depth.
Case is dismissed. Thank you, Leon.
Good luck.